Hey there, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Evoke Greatness. This podcast was created for those of you who, like me, are driven by their curious nature and fascination with the champion mindset. If you have an insatiable hunger for growth and knowledge, or maybe you're just curious on how some of the most successful people have navigated their journey, we share the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows, and all the lessons learned along the way. It doesn't matter what chapter you are on in your story. Maybe you're just getting started, or heck, maybe you're halfway through. What I know is where intention goes, energy flows. It's my most sincere hope that you will hear something in one or maybe many of these episodes that resonates with you and reminds you that you are not in this alone. As we venture into year 2, I hope that you find a sense of connection and community when you're here, because we all deserve a place where we belong. My name is Sonnie, and I am so glad you're here. If you're new, there's a few things you want to know about me. I am a huge book nerd and a wee bit of a control enthusiast with an obsession for motivational coffee cups. I believe that a rising tide raises all ships, and I invite you along in this journey to evoke greatness. Back to another episode of Evoke Greatness. I'm curious, has the noise of the world ever gotten too loud? It has for me. I am climbing out from under a rock today, and that rock has been a dark and quiet space that I have really needed over the last couple of weeks. There's been a whirlwind of things that have gone on, and I won't go into all of them, but it's been overwhelming. A couple weeks ago, my son went on his first parent-free camping trip with friends. And long story short, it ended up in us ensuring we were going to be connected throughout his time up camping, turned into 48 hours of no contact, no idea where he was. And the last place that his phone pinged was a cliff. I'm sure some will say that I overreacted, but let me tell you, my mama heart was really, really thrown for a loop. And 48 hours of your kid up in the mountains and you having no idea whether they're okay, that does something to you. I reached out to a handful of people, those prayer warriors that are in my life, and they really helped me navigate. But I will tell you that I didn't realize how much of an emotional toll that took on me. Fortunately, about that 48-hour mark, my son was coming out of the mountains and got cell service again and called me immediately. And I was so relieved, but that really threw me for a loop and was just kind of dealing with the emotions around that, knowing he was okay, but that does something to you. On top of that, my in-laws were coming in town. My kids were getting ready to go to a week of church camp, and we've got a trip to Italy coming up. And that is a lot of things to be doing and getting ready for on top of just day-to-day work. I mean, there's a lot going on. And so I was just in this space where I didn't know how to process through all of it, which is just an interesting place to recognize yourself in. I think we don't always think about the importance around our mental health and well-being when it comes to being overwhelmed with things. And when we're off, we need to listen to that. It took me a minute, and I floundered in the meanwhile. You know, it was interesting just from a creativity perspective. I found myself going online, different social platforms to make a post and feeling like a barren desert of creativity, like nothing showed up for me. And that was so frustrating. And I was disappointed in myself around it. And the things that we don't always think about are the pressure that comes with having a presence and the feeling that we always have to be on. We don't always recognize that negative impact of the constant stimulation coming at us in this world today. We've got social media, we've got news, we've got notifications, we've got emails, we have all of these things that are flying at us. And that doesn't always allow us to have time to just be still and quiet. I think periodic states of stillness and quiet, that quiet time, those are essential for our mental health. And I think disconnecting from those things gives us the space and opportunity to be refreshed and restored. And I knew I needed to honor what I was feeling once I started to make sense of it. But it took me a minute to make sense of it. And when I honored that I knew I needed to get quiet, that I knew I needed to quiet the external noise and duck out for a little bit and just get my bearings, I could finally allow myself to sit with the state that I was in. We have such a sense of societal pressure to be constantly connected. And when we aren't, I don't know about you, but it's like managing, maybe anxiety is too much of a word, too much of a description of it, but we're managing that anxiety or whatever you want to call it around missing out. FOMO is real, right? And so just through this process, the light came on that it's absolutely critical that we learn to prioritize our mental health over social expectations. It can be really easy to just disconnect and to slip away in this digital world. And that was another piece. It was every day, then a week went by and there just wasn't anything showing up for me. And the thing is because we live in such a digital world, it's not only easy to slip away, but to almost get a little lost. And so throughout this process, I also recognized it is so important to not get stuck in this place. When we learn to set boundaries for ourselves with whatever technology, whatever social media, whatever social pressures we're dealing with, we've got to find ways to limit the mindless scrolling, the rabbit hole chasing that we go down. And I think that's just we've got 56 tabs open on our computers. We've got all the tabs open on our phones, and we go from one technology platform to another. And learning to shut that out for a little bit and actually create a sense of quiet, shut out the world's noise for a minute, you actually can begin to hear yourself think again. And I think that's the really interesting thing in having a social media presence or, doing a podcast, all of these things. You have so many different voices of the world coming at you, right? If you're going on social media and you're looking at everybody else's posts, that's a voice, ping, 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 these voices coming at you, these opinions coming at you. You're listening to a podcast, you're watching YouTube videos. Man, we are inundated with other people's voices. And you can get lost in almost to a point where you lose a bit of your own voice. And I want to caution people, and I want to wave the red flag around that to make sure that you're not getting lost in the noise around you. Rather, that you're staying in tune with your own voice and your own thoughts and your own opinions. And all of these things, going through this experience, can be hard when we work from home. We have such a work from home society now, way more than we ever have. And that can add an element of isolation and loneliness to the mix. And I think that's another piece that we just have to be cognizant of, is reaching out and having some sort of engagement. Because again, it's really important to get quiet and get still, but don't slip away. Don't get stuck in that. So as I reemerge from under my dark, quiet rock today, I'm trying to be mindful to not go at it 100 miles an hour. Gradually reintegrating after a period of this quiet time that I've had. And my friend KL said it best. She said, I hope it's a slow, that's what I needed. I needed a slow climb out. And I'm not always known for doing things slowly, But I knew in this moment I needed a slow climb out. I don't know what you do when you're in a state like this, but I normally pray, and I hadn't been. Not about this. Until my devotional the last 2 days absolutely grabbed me by my lapel. And I'm going to read you 2 days worth. And I want you to hear for yourself. And maybe it means something to different people, and maybe people aren't even interested in it. But it was so profound for me in the state that I have been in the last couple of weeks that it made me recognize it. And then it actually helped me in that slow climb. And so yesterday's devotion, this is from the Jesus Calling devotional, says self-pity is a slimy, bottomless pit. Once you fall in, you tend to go deeper and deeper into the mire. As you slide down those slippery walls, you are well on your way to depression, and the darkness is profound. Your only hope is to look up and see the light of my presence shining down on you. Though the light looks dim from your perspective, deep in the pit, those rays of hope can reach you at any depth. While you focus on me in trust, you rise ever so slowly out of the abyss of despair. Finally, you can reach up and grasp my hand. I will pull you out into the light again. I will gently cleanse you, washing off the clinging mire. I will cover you with my righteousness and walk with you down the path of life. And so most of yesterday was being in prayer and connecting with my Heavenly Father, because that was what I needed. Because I will tell you, the devil loves nothing more than when you are in a state of despair or a dark place where you're just swirling. The devil loves that. And so when you can recognize, okay, now I kind of see where I'm at, and now I need to get to work. And so today it was like, whoo, it really hit me. And it was like, okay, it's time to come out from underneath that rock. Today's devotional is come away with me for a while. The world with its nonstop demands can be put on hold. Most people put me on hold, rationalizing that someday they will find the time to focus on me. But the longer people push me into the background of their lives, the harder it is for them to find me. You live among people who glorify busyness. They have made time a tyrant that controls their lives. Even those who know me as Savior tend to march to the tempo of the world. They have brought into the illusion that more is always better. More meetings, more programs, more activity. I have called you to follow me on a solitary path, making time alone with me your highest priority and deepest joy. It is a pathway largely unappreciated and often despised. However, you have chosen the better thing, which will never be taken away from. Moreover, as you walk close to me, I can bless others through you. So those were the two devotionals that got my attention and pulled me up out of the mud and mire and got me in a state of prayer where I wanted clarity and I wanted to honor that quiet time. But I also knew that I needed to reach my hand up, because sometimes we can be in that slimy pit and we're not reaching up. We're mad and we're pissed off and we're angry that we're there for whatever reason, but we're not reaching up to get out. And it's when it dawns on us that we can reach our hand up to be pulled out of there when you begin taking action to change the state that you're in. I saw this quote from Steve Jobs, and it says, "Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice." And I just thought that was so applicable to at least the last couple of weeks that I've been going through. And so I want you to honor what you're feeling. And if you need a break, it's okay. It's okay to not be okay all the time. It's just not okay to stay there. So I encourage you to share what you're going through with the people around you. Support one another. If there's anything I can do to support you or pray for you, if you're in that dark, quiet place right now, just say the word. And remember, more than anything, take care of yourselves and each other. Thank you so much for listening and for being here on this journey with me. I hope you'll stick around. If you liked this episode, it would mean the world for me if you would rate and review the podcast or share it with someone you know may need to hear this message. I love to hear from you all and want you to know that you can leave me a voicemail directly. If If you go to my website, evokegreatness.com, and go to the Contact Me tab, you'll just hit the big old orange button and record your message. I love the feedback and comments that I've been getting, so please keep them coming. I'll leave you with the wise words of author Robin Sharma. Greatness comes by doing a few small and smart things each and every day. It comes from taking little steps consistently. It comes from making a few small chips against everything in your professional and personal life that is ordinary, so that a day eventually arrives when all that's left is the extraordinary.